Before you leave a comment, let me explain. Have you ever seen someone make a decision so bad? Like, you look at all the analytics, you see all the possible routes that they could take, and they end up taking the worst one, and you explain why it's the worst one, yet they still go with that path. And then you just look at them and go, but why? Why would you do that? So to make a long story short, a couple of years back, I was made aware of a manga series by the name of The Fragrant Flower That Blooms with Dignity, or known in Japanese as
Kaoru Hana wa rin to Saku.
Yeah, my Japanese is not good at all. So yeah, I learned about this manga through various communities. From the few panels that I saw of it, it seemed like something that I would enjoy. Because you can't just watch endless amounts of videos of a giant radioactive lizard beating the crap out of a 3-headed space dragon that shoots lightning. Hell yeah. So yeah, for that year, I was a pretty big fan of the series, and then I finally caught up not too long after I started. In early 2024, there was then speculation that an anime series might be in development. And then lo and behold, on September 16th of 2024, it was announced that this manga series would be getting an anime. Now, of course, I was hyped, everyone else was hyped, even people who didn't even know about the series was hyped. It was just really hype. And then as the months went on, more information about how this anime was going to be distributed started to roll out. And it was confirmed, not too long after the initial announcement, that Netflix will be streaming the series. Now, for me, at the time, need to emphasize that, was very excited about this, because when it comes to streaming services, I think Netflix is kind of the pinnacle example of what a streaming service should be. And I say that mainly because there's just aspects of other streaming services that kind of fail or lack where Netflix kind of surpasses. For example, when Netflix gets a title that is not a Netflix original, like maybe they have one of the MCU movies on there, or maybe they have an old horror classic from Warner Bros. They will give it the amount of advertisement and attention that it needs to really garner an audience. Versus, let's say something like Disney Plus. Disney Plus has been very infamous when it comes to series and movies that they have, but aren't Disney productions. I think a really good example of this is, did you know that there were a couple of Godzilla movies that were on Disney Plus? Now you know. And they don't advertise this. They don't post anything. It's just radio silence. But with Netflix, they actually do advertise whatever titles that they gain. It doesn't matter if it's something they're distributing or if it's a Netflix original production. I'd say both kind of evenly have their own level of advertisements to let customers know what is available on Netflix. Versus Disney Plus, which is kind of, should we give this leeway? Now, of course, that isn't to say that Netflix is perfect. I think Netflix is better than what is already available. Or at least that's what I used to say. When it was announced that Netflix was going to be distributing The Fragrant Flower That Blooms with Dignity, there was a lot of chatter as to how it was going to be distributed. Now, the term Netflix jail by this point, and by what I mean by this point is like early 2025, has since been extinguished, I guess? Because since I want to say since 2023 or 2024, Netflix hasn't really done the whole batch release, at least when it comes to shows that they acquire, like The Fragrant Flower That Blooms with Dignity. I think a really good example of shows that Netflix don't do the whole Netflix jail binge watch model, which I should probably explain what that is. Is Dan to Dan, Blue Box, and recently Sakamoto Days. So when I heard that Netflix was going to have The Fragrant Flower That Blooms with Dignity, I was of course excited. And the release for the series was set for, let me double check this because it's been so long, for July 6th of 2025. And thus the hype train continued. Until more news about how Netflix was going to distribute the anime started to surface. Now initially, when Netflix had the anime on their website, it said that the series would premiere in the summer of 2025. However, as time went on, regions outside of Japan and some other East Asian countries started to see a bit of a change. Instead of saying the summer of 2025, it started to say coming soon, which is kind of concerning. Now, of course, a lot of people were speculating on what the initial release date or the international release date was going to be for the series. Now, some people speculated that the series was going to start premiering a week after the Japanese release, which some people were complaining about that, and when I say it could get worse, oh boy, you have no idea. So people were just kind of left in the air as to how this series was going to be distributed. Is it going to be a weekly release, or is it going to be a one whole batch released in one go? And then on July 8th, it was confirmed that the Fragrant Flower That Blooms with Dignity would not be releasing outside of Japan or some of these Eastern countries until September. Now, of course, a lot of people were kind of not happy about this because, again, by this point, the idea of Netflix jail has since dissipated, and now it not only came back with a vengeance, but it will soon be confirmed to be worse than what it was before. With this in mind, a lot of people, including myself, were a little disheartened, but at the same time it's like, well, if we wait long enough, I guess we could watch the entire series in one go. However, around this announcement, there was some chitter-chatter going about that when the series releases on September 7th, that it wouldn't release the full series. Instead, it would only be releasing 1 or perhaps 2 episodes out of this season's 13, which is kind of weird. Now, when I initially heard this, I was super mad, but I decided to hold back. I decided not to make this video, not until I get absolute confirmation that this was the release schedule that Netflix was going with. Now, we're on September 14th, and there's only been 3 episodes of this show released. Okay, so let's break it down real quick. Fragrant Flower That Blooms with Dignity releases in July in Japan and in certain East Asian countries. And since then, the show has been releasing episodes weekly with an English subtitle version available. However, for everyone else, the international audiences, everyone else outside of those regions could not watch the series. And it wouldn't be until September 7th that the series releases for international audiences. Now, we cannot watch the same amount of episodes that the other countries and territories are watching because Netflix decided to hold the series back for 2 months and then do a weekly release. They tried to combine the best of both worlds, simulcasting and binge watching, and the end result is what is arguably one of the worst releases I've ever seen. Okay, so, like, if we talk about binge watching, the major downside of that is that you have to wait 2 whole months for the series to run its course and then be complete. And then Netflix releases it. But you do gain the opportunity of watching that series all in one go if you wish. And depending on how many episodes are available, that should take you little less than a week to actually complete. And then the advantage of simulcasting, that you, the streamer, slowly accumulate a community because people are watching the series week by week instead of watching it all at once and then putting all the theories out there in one go and then just kind of going on to their next hyperfixation or the next big thing. By doing this, So the people that want to binge watch this series have to wait an additional 2 months for the series to run its course, because the last episode of this is going to release in early December, while the other territories that have been able to watch this series early are probably going to be running 3 rounds around the international audience already, or at least just hyping up or theorizing what a season 2 is going to be like. This is a terrible release schedule. That's all I want to say. The only reason why I held off on making this video earlier is because I wasn't sure if this information was true. I wasn't sure if what people were saying back then, that this series was being held for 2 months before releasing episodes weekly, was true. Because, again, it sounds so... And, you know, there's going to be some people that are going to be like, oh, come on, they probably have a reason. Just, why are you saying these? I think what's really hilarious is I think this release strategy has severely backfired on Netflix and they don't even know it. Or maybe they're just completely ignorant about it. Because if you were to look up the Fragrant Flower That Blooms with Dignity right now, you will see sleuths of videos reacting to the latest episode, which is episode 10, or by the time this comes up, it's going to be episode 11. Meanwhile, there is little to no videos about episode 1 releasing for the international audience, and some of these people aren't even in these territories that are showing this anime. They are in North America watching it through other means. So yeah, in spite of me being such a big fan of the show, I just cannot for the life of me find myself to support this release schedule. I cannot find myself to support Netflix for making such blunder of a decision. It would have been fine if they decided to release the entire series right now, simply because that is ultimately the better option. Honestly, the way better option, like leagues ahead of this current release schedule that they're going by. But yeah, it's like this is honestly terrible. I do not like this at all. And you know what? I could see this also backfiring in another way. You'll probably have people who are following some of these YouTubers who are reacting to this series, and these YouTubers are on episode 10. And then you have the viewers who are waiting patiently for Netflix to drop the anime in their region. And then once it finally drops, they decide to check it out, but then they only see there's only 2 episodes available. So, having seen how many episodes there are, what do you think people are going to do when they realize they're missing out while other people are way ahead of them? They're going to watch the show through other means. Because again, they waited 2 months already, hoping for the full series, because that's what Netflix has done before. And then Netflix doesn't do that. Instead, they're doing this weekly release 2 months after. What do you think people are going to do? They're going to go to watch the series through other means. And I think the most ironic thing is that the 2 ways you could watch this series are ways that Netflix does not condone. The most ironic thing about all of this is because platforms like Netflix will go, no, don't use a VPN, don't pirate, just watch it through the official means, and then this is how they decide to roll out the series. I'm sorry, but I can see why people decided to pirate. It's honestly not that hard. There has been that one point where Netflix blocked VPNs. I'm not sure if that's an ongoing situation or if that's something that was resolved, either through the VPNs themselves or Netflix decided to lighten up on their restrictions. Strategy number 2 is simply pirating it. So that's the video. I don't want to take this lightly, but whoever made that decision seriously needs to get fired. God, like seriously, I really do hate this. I really hate this. And like, this always happens to series that I'm always hyped for. Like Godzilla Singular Point was in Netflix jail, and now this is in Super Netflix jail, Netflix jail 2.0, Netflix Gulag, I guess. There's no resolution to this, alright? Like, corporations are going to do what they want to do. Whether we agree with them or not, that's up to us. But yeah, it's like, everywhere you go, you'll see kind of the same response, that being people aren't really happy with this release schedule. So yeah, what should you do? Like I said before, use a VPN if you want to watch everything that's already available, or you could just pirate. For me, I'm just going to pirate it because I cannot bring myself to support this official release. I just can't. And you know, it's like, yeah, I talked about it before. I seriously need to invest in a VPN because this shit needs to stop, man. This needs to stop. Some words of wisdoms from the great Gabe Neal. Piracy is not a pricing issue. It's a service issue. And if this is the service that you're providing, don't be surprised if people go against what you say to get a better service. So yeah, Netflix, do better. Fire whoever made the suggestion. And yeah, that's it. Enjoy the series through other means other than the official one. Till next time, everybody. And by next time, I mean 2 months when this series fully releases. God damn it! Okay, so I had to make a quick note about this. Just got news that Netflix is releasing Steel Ball Run of JoJo. I swear to God, if you guys do this again, it's